the one who was like really wiggling in the last earthquake. Gig Harbor. Oh. Washington. What can I tell you? Beautiful, magical, enchanting. I was mesmerized, especially by these mountains who are covered in trees, in forests. You know, I come from the Alps in Germany, and we have high mountains, but they don't have trees on top. So this was something really different for me, and I really loved it. By the way, hi everybody. Today I'm telling you a little bit about Washington from our 30 states trip through the USA. So we went down from Oregon on the Pacific Coast Highway, which is gorgeous by itself. You know, there's so many views. You look out on the ocean, it's just amazing. And our goal was Salish Trails RV Park in the National Olympic Forest, National Olympic Park. I think that's the correct name. Olympic National Park. Okay, now I got it right. And Salish Trails is very close to Port Angeles. A nice, beautiful town to walk around. And full hookups in the trees with shade and pastures. Salish Trails is a nice RV park. You have to book though in summer. They were full. And our first big point on the bucket list for Washington was to hike to Cape Flattery. This is the most northwestern point of the United States. So we went to the parking lot and started hiking. And let me tell you, I'm really out of shape, I know. But we did it anyway. And it went down very steep on steps. There are steps down to that Cape Flattery point where you make your photos. I will put one in after I talk to you. And I told Clay, wow, this is really steep. And those steps are really high, you know. So he said, oh, I think this is a round trip, so we can go a different way back. Okay, yeah. Of course, it was not a round trip. We had to go back up all those steps, and those steps were like this, you know. And if you have not so tall legs, my husband is over 6 feet, so he could walk that better up. I didn't. The incline wasn't so bad. I could have dealt with the incline without problem. But the steps, so 2/3 up. I said, I'm not going anywhere. I'm sitting down here. You can bring the helicopter. I can't walk one more step. I was so out. I mean, my legs were hurting going up these stairs. I just didn't have the power anymore to go another step. So he literally had to grab me by my wrists, like you do with little kids when they don't want to walk anymore. Had me behind his back, grabbed my wrists and dragged me up the last few steps to the parking lot. I mean, when I saw the parking lot, I was so happy. I said, oh my God, I'm up there. I'm up there. I made it. So we were both really pooped out after that hike, but it was beautiful. It is beautiful. If you are in more shape than I am, you will have no problem. It's not too long, but as I said, that incline with the steps, that's the big thing, the steps. So we did that, had a nice lunch there in the town, and just looked at all the gorgeous scenery there. Then the second one we did was Hurricane Ridge, that's up in the mountains. And One recommendation, if you plan to go up Hurricane Ridge, go really, really early. We went before 8 o'clock, we started driving up and we had nobody. We didn't have waiting times. We had a spot at the parking lot up on the mountain. We could do our hikes and look around. Up there you see glaciers, you see the snow. It was June, yeah. We saw the snow on the glaciers and we saw Canada. You can look all the way to Canada. It's amazing. It's so much nature up there you can enjoy, but go early. Because when we went down about 10, maybe after 10, we went down again. The cars were standing, the parking lot was full, and the rangers didn't let anybody in until somebody leaves. So the cars were standing all the way down to the valley because they had to wait until another one left. It's horrible. So don't go there late. Maybe 4 or 5 o'clock it's gonna loosen up, but I recommend go there at 8 o'clock and you will be able to enjoy it. Well, we went to the KOA, I think it's KOA rainforest. We looked at that. That's a special, I mean, it's a rainforest is everywhere, but that's a special one where the mosses hang down and it's kind of neat. So we went to that too. And then the next big thing on our list for Washington was Forks. And I'm telling you about Forks after the pictures I put in for Cape Flattery and Hurricane Ridge and KOA. This is Hurricane Ridge. You see clay. Snow on the map. The Hurricane Ridge, Olympic Mountain Range. Look at the snow up there. Woo! Beautiful day today to come here. It's busy too. Canada and Mount Baker. Forks. I don't know, some of you might not be familiar with the name Forks, Washington. Those of you who watched the Twilight Saga, they know what I'm talking about. Here, see my t-shirt? La Pouche. That's where the high school students used to party, and this is the werewolf, Jacob. I'm Team Jacob, by the way. Oh, well, let's just tell everybody. So Forks is the location for the movie Twilight Saga, where Bella, the girl Bella, has to choose between, it's a love she has to choose between Edward Cullen, fall in love with Edward Cullen, or with Jacob, the werewolf. Edward Cullen is a vampire, Jacob is a werewolf. My husband didn't know the series either. It's more of a teenage or girly series, I would say. But I made him watch it because we were there in Forks and I wanted him to know what I'm talking about. So luckily, when we were in Forks, there was an exhibition of all the props of the Twilight Saga, and because they were sold to I think it was a private entity or a movie company to LA, and they would disappear, and so they would get shipped after the exhibition. So we said, okay, we have to go to that exhibition, and it was perfect. They had this big werewolf in cardboard, the prop for the werewolf, which I thought was really cool. I will put some pictures in. And the dresses, the wedding dress, Bella's wedding dress, and all that. So it was kind of cool to go through that exhibit. And whole entire Forks is Twilight Saga geared. You know, every souvenir store has something about that Twilight Saga, like that shirt I showed you. Yeah, that's my favorite Twilight Saga shirt because I'm Team Jacob. I like the werewolf. My daughter-in-law is Team Edward. So I like Twilight Saga. People laugh a little when I say that, but there are some really good scenes in there. I remember one. It's pretty much at the end. I don't want to spoil it for those of you who want to watch it now and haven't seen it before. But there's the big fight towards the end, and Bella is really worried about Jacob getting hurt in there. They have a conversation before he leaves to go on a special mission in that fight, let's say it that way. And he looks at her and he smiles at her and said, "Hey, you have a thing for me, huh? Do you?" And she looks back at him and smiles. She doesn't say yes, she doesn't say no, but you can see, yes, she has a thing for him. She loves Edward, but there's also a little bit room in her heart for Jacob. And that's nothing dirty, nothing, they made it so genuine in that scene. You know, it's not about cheating or something, or, you know, it's just her smiling and acknowledging, yeah, there is room for another person in my heart. And why not? I mean, you can love 2 children, you can love 2 dogs, you can love 2 homes. Why not having a thing for a second guy, but not acting on it? So that was made really nice, that scene. One of the scenes I really like in that movie. And because they could have done it different, you know, like in all the other movies. Yeah, she cheats on her husband, or she denies every feeling for somebody else, you know, that the stereotype. No, they did it right, and I like it. So, yeah, I'm a Twilight Saga fan. And we looked at everything, all the locations, you know, they point out the locations, like the high school and La Pouche, where they had the party and where the werewolves congregated, and it was just a lot of fun. We spent 2 days to explore Forks. One day was not enough. We had tons of souvenirs from there. Hi everybody. This is our last day in the Olympic National Park in Washington, and we really had a good time. We love Washington Olympic National Park. I can say that. If I would have to name the states how I perceive them, I would say California is happy sunshine, Oregon is wild and free, and Washington is like magic. So all these forests are magical. Today we're in the Hoh, um, how's it called? Hoh rainforest, and it's just beautiful. You know, everywhere you go, there is no corner where you can make a bad picture. So I really love it. We will go back to Forks today, look around a little bit more, you know, the Twilight stuff. I'm not surprised that they shot the Twilight saga in this area, because it is like, today is a beautiful day, so it's sunshine, but you still have the fog in the corners, and it looks like vampires and werewolves are living here. So yeah, I can see why they shot the movie in this area. We love it. We really love that area. Tomorrow we will move on to Ellensburg, Washington, where we only stay a night in a KOA. Then we have a harvest host in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. And after that we will be at the Glacier National Park in Montana. I've totally forgot to tell you about, of course, we didn't go from Olympic National Park straight to Montana. You know, we had a 1 day breaks in between. We decided not to drive more than 300 miles a day because it's too stressful with the RV. So from the Olympic National Park, we went to Ellensburg, Washington for 1 night, and it's a beautiful KOA. We were right at the river. We had a picnic on the river, on the picnic tables. It's beautiful. And so I put those in too. And from there, we went to Idaho, Coeur d'Alene, Panhandle, and then to Spokane, Washington, to a harvest host, a farm. It's called the Hidden Acres Orchards in Spokane, Washington, or Mead. Mead was the little town. And there we noticed the check engine light. So it was catalytic converter was the message when my husband put the reader in, and he thought maybe we got bad gas or something, and he put some cleaning stuff in and put it back, and it didn't come up anymore. So we didn't worry much more after that, but it came on that at that point. Our catalytic converter had about, I would say, 50,000 miles on it, so it was up there. But as I said, it went out for another 1,000 miles, so we didn't think much about it anymore. We were just happy that it didn't come up. The farm we stayed was really cool. We were in the middle of a meadow. We celebrated July 4th there, and the farmer was really nice. He said all the tools he has we can use if we have something on the RV, if we need to fix something. And they had plenty of stuff to buy, you know, like groceries and t-shirts and all kinds of stuff. We had a nice little farm store. That's the fun thing on Harvest Hosts. You buy something instead of paying campground fees. You buy something. They recommend $30 if you stay a night. And I think we reached that. Yeah, big time. They have, like, different Harvest Hosts have different stuff. So like cosmetica or wine or beer or groceries or t-shirts. You always find something. So I like I like Harvest Hosts. Anyway, I think this was the last one in Washington that Harvest Hosts, and from there we went to Montana, where we had a really scary experience, but I'll tell you more about that next week. As they say in California, peace out. Pow. Nice little camp spot we got ourselves here in Ellensburg, Washington, where we ended up after leaving Port Angeles. And now we go towards Spokane and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and then Montana. But pretty cool, huh? You're right on the river. Is that cool? Yeah, I like it here. Has a pool and everything. It's the KOA in Ellensburg. Happy birthday, America!